Bum, 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 bum. All right, so obviously I'm going to make videos. You guys are going to want to know what I'm riding. It is a 2018 KTM 250 SX. Yes, it is a motorbike, but she is a monster on trails. We know she's mapped for motocross, but I did kind of tame her down a little bit, and I'll get into that in just a minute. So, bought this bike last year. Pretty new, not many hours on it, a couple hours. Needed a good trail bike. Well, we know it was a COVID market. Everything was extremely crazy. Really wanted an XCW. I got one in the works for this year, but we know how hard it is to drop 14 grand on a bike. They're not cheap at all. And with the new TPI stuff, I've been kind of hesitant because nobody likes a $14,000 bike sitting in their garage that they have to constantly work on. So I've been holding off. Don't know if I might go with the beta 300R or what. I'm really looking at the betas because they're still carbureted. I'm just not into the TPI yet. I really want to be, trust me, I'm not a TPI hater by any means. I love it. Love everything about it. This is not there yet with all the sensors, crank sensor and blah, blah, blah and all that. So, I mean, if you're into KTM stuff, you already know because I'm sure you've already looked at a billion videos just like I have. But anyway, I'll get into some of the things I've done so far. Excuse me. So, first thing I went with was Srt Pro Bend hand guards. They're a nice addition. I've never ran them before, but I figured I would give them a shot considering how expensive these little perches are here. So, and I just didn't want to be out there, and I knew I was going to be in trail riding, and I knew I was going to be doing Enduro stuff, so I knew I was going to be dropping my bike a lot. So I figured, man, you might as well just pony up and get these. I know they make the bars a little more rigid, but heck, man, I'm slow and old, so a little rigid bar over replacing parts all the time it's kind of a good mix for me. So, with the Pro Bends here. Okay, and of course we did the old tugger straps, because you know the rule is if you ain't got straps, you ain't getting helped out. So we went and did the tugger straps, and they were pretty hard to find for this bike. It took me a while to find ones that actually fit here, because it seemed like ones wanted to go to the seat here, then some wanted to go here. I ended up having to do it with the muffler or on the pipe hook up there, so that was a kind of bummer. But anyway, the guy I got it from, he did a full decal works set on it, and it looks good. Way better than stock OEM KTM. Is just horrible looking, pretty much. That's why Decal Works gets so much business, I guess. So moving on, we'll just start from the top and go down. I want some air bleeders, because the thing with I didn't have these risers on at first. I'll get into that in a second. So I went some Srt Bleeders from Slavens, and man, they are worth the money, I tell you what, because instead of unscrewing a little screw, blah, blah, you just pop, pop. And these bleeders are, I guess, pretty much known to be the best. They don't suck in at all, than like some of the other ones. So that is highly recommended. That was the best mod, not trying to strip out those screws and deal with that. Way better. Then the Rocks risers. Man, my nephew turned me onto them, and I didn't think I needed them at first. I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'something". So, yeah, I was hesitant on it first, because I just didn't know. And the more I stood up on my bike, I just felt like it would be beneficial to have a little height and a little forward. So, pulled the trigger on it, and yeah, I mean, night and day. Was not disappointed at all. It did awesome. Okay, we're gonna do this quick. Work down. We did the tier beast, of course, big tank, desert tank. It's a must-have, because obviously anything smaller than that, you're not gonna be able to pull off those 8-10 hour rides that you really want to. And yeah, I would definitely recommend the filter sock inside, because that's the way to go. I mean, I run a filter on my line. I run a filter in my sock. I'm kind of like a pro maintenance kind of guy. I do anything I can to save my engines and stuff like that. Enduro Engineering radiator braces. They are worth their money in gold. I think I got them on Rocky Mountain. I think they were on sale. I can't remember, 50, 60, I can't remember, 50, 60 bucks, but people had a problem. They had to run the rubber straps over here to hold the radiator fin fan on, or plastic on. So, and mine lined up. I actually lucked out and they went on perfect, and I love them. They're awesome. You can't go wrong with it. I mean, especially just drop the bike as much as I do. Pretty clumsy guy. So then I guess we'll just keep on going down on this side. Of course, I pull my stops out. I know that's one of the main things for trails. Pull that out so we can get a little bit more turning there. A little more turn. And, you know, as long as you're not banging into your triple trees into your radiator, I would definitely recommend. And what I did was take a little clear silicone and I just plug some in that hole right there, because no matter what, it's got to get jam-packed with stuff. So I figured it'd be easier just to pull out a glob of silicone than it would be to dig out rust and whatever get in there. So yeah, definitely pop a little silicone in that. And we'll head on down. And I had my suspension done by House of Horsepower here, Richard Wilson, and Eugene, Oregon. And dude is phenomenal. I cannot say enough good things about him. That dude goes above and beyond. My bike rides awesome, set up for my weight. I cannot go wrong. He gave me a heck of a deal. Revalve, respring my suspension. I mean, just can't go wrong. I mean, it's your suspension has to be set up for you, or it's just, your bike is just not going to handle right. It's going to be all over the place. You definitely need it set up for you. Lighter guys, I think if you're $150 below, I think some push it to $160, 65 on a stock spring, you can get away with it. But of course, me, I'm pushing almost 300, 250, 260. So my weight would definitely affect that, the ride. So thank you, Richard, House of Horsepower. So we went down. It came with an FMF stock pipe, and it came with a FMF fatty. And of course, you know, that's more a top end pipe. And of course, I'm trying to break her down for trail, so I went with the gnarly on it. And man, talk about opening it up. It just really did a good job. And of course, we did the engineering cover and stuff like that. So I'll make this a short video. I'm not going to go into detail about every little piece because it's going to be like a 40-minute video. And maybe later on I can kind of just break apart each thing here and just tell you the pros and cons of it and what I really liked about it. But for now, I'm just kind of going through my bike and kind of just showing everybody what I got. And of course, from Slavens, we did the Flange Guard here, the coupler, because 2 strokes, you know, we got this huge pipe here and it likes to fall on it a lot. And we do get known for busting that flange off that head, and it is bad. So we try, you know, add a little more durability to it. Slavens, I highly recommend Slavens. And Rocky Mountain, of course. But, yeah, definitely Slavens. These guys are top notch, so there we go with that. And, of course, let's swoop to the front real quick here. I did some little cheap Cherubies, fork guards here, or shoe guards. Just to keep from banging that aluminum around and just smashing it and deforming it all to heck here. So yeah, those were pretty good and they're worth the money. Then I went with Samco hoses. You know, not being a fan-cooled bike, but still being water-cooled, which is, you know, far from when I was riding 2-strokes back in the day. And so everything I can to keep her slow and cool. So I went with the Samco hoses, and I have not had no problems with it overheating. Are they a little spendy? Yeah, for a couple hoses, they are a little deep in the pockets. But, I mean, you get what you pay for, stuff like that. So, now, of course, I went Cherubies engine case guards. Well worth the money, too. I think I got them on sale, I can't remember. But they're worth it, too. As many drops as we drop, you're bound to bust that case. Later on, I'm going to throw a Recluse on here. I just don't know what I'm going to get and blah, 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 and all that basket and what I'm going to get. So that's in the future. And we know the old AXP guard. I mean, you can't beat it. That hard plastic. And, you know, it doesn't catch on rocks. It slides right over. It's easy to take off. You can't beat it. You cannot beat it. I wanted a whole basket that covered everything, but, you know, it just works a little better. It's more durable. Aluminum just, God, it likes to hang up on every little rock. So then I went with the Enduro Engineering extended brake pedal because... So when I first got this bike, man, no matter what, I felt like I was always digging for that thing. And it was like, you get in that panic mode, like, oh God, where's that at? And, you know, then when your feet are covered with mud, it was like, I feel like my foot would be like this, and I would always try to dig in here to find it. So, and I remember when I first bought my bike, everybody said that was like one of the first kind of grades they did. And I agree, man. I mean, I moved it back a little bit too now, so I can just boop, 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 just tip it, and it works great. So... Then, of course, our little metal cap, because hear a lot of stories about, you know, people falling over, busting those in half, and yeah, that's bad out on the trail. So, you know, I'm not one of those guys. I don't put a bunch of orange bling on stuff. Everything I have is practical. It's either for protection or performance. So I'm kind of like old Mr. Slavens here. It's all got to be for a purpose. You know, it can't just be because it's orange or whatever. So it all has a purpose. But anyway, yeah, then I went with these Warp 9 pegs. Yeah, I know they're like that cast aluminum. They're garbage. They always break here. But you know what? I was like, for $100, they're wide. I'll take my chances with them until they break. Then I'll whine and cry about it. Then I'll go back to some steel pegs. Anyway, including from that pipe, I did go with the turbine core just because we're in Oregon here and we got to keep our wood safe. We don't want to catch nothing on fire. I mean, wood responsibility is a big part on what we do. You know, we just can't go up there and tear stuff up. We got to go up there, clean up, give it back, help maintain the trails, and do anything we can. So to keep our public spaces open. So that's the old turbine core there. And yeah, well, I guess let's see what we got here. I went with a Nylock. People are gonna give me the gov. Hey, that's orange, but I did go with a Nylock nut because the stock ones, I just don't like nuts that just thread onto something without nothing holding them. So, you know, street bikes, you know, you drill it out, you know, run a safety pin on it and all that, blah, blah, blah. So I figure a good Nylock one, you know, some plastic in there, hold it on there tight. Then I went with the SRT on blocks. They're awesome for adjusting. I mean, any bike I've had, that's one of the big things I try to get is adjuster blocks because these are so nice. They're in there. Bam, throw your rag in there, pulls it tight. I mean, you ain't got to sit here and wiggle, woggle, blah, blah, blah. But then we went with the Tusk Rotor Guard. And I know it's a lower end, cheaper guard, but hey, man, I'm not Jarvis, so it's got to work out just fine. And while I'm on this side, I did go with a 505 cheater. The other half, the end of this year here, because when the mud started kicking up, it was bad. I needed some better traction. So, yeah, there we go with that. And I just did a new sprocket and chain setup. I know it's not super sprox. They didn't have none in stock. And this is a funny story. Part of the story, man, is I went with a new sprocket and chain setup. So I was like, super sprox front and rear. Did a Dirt Tricks washer on there. Super sprox sprocket. I think I went to 1351. And so they didn't have any of these in stock. And so I was like, oh man, just send me one of these. I got to ride. And I rode once as I had this on. So, and of course, Super Sprox comes back in stock in January. So I'll just have to run this old moose out and see how she does. But I went with the Iris chain. It's an old EU chain.
there was something back in the day that I guess they used to have problems, you know, with them. But I heard they gotten a lot better, so I threw the old Iris X-Ring on there. We'll see how it does. You know, we'll see how she goes. Then of course, air filter, kind of run whatever you kind of want to run, I guess. Uni or whatever a lot of people like out there. It's personal preference. I just put this on a kickstand. I think that was a bad part about trying to run a moto bike, because I mean, these bikes are good in the woods. Yeah, it's not a super technical bike, but anything above rock hopping with Jarvis, man, this bike is killer. Single track. I don't have to shift through 500 gears. I mean, this thing's got power. It's fun. So I definitely needed something to quit hanging on trees. So here we go with that. The old Warp 9. And yes, they are ridiculously expensive. And that's why it took me so long. A lot of people say they will never spend that money on a kickstand. And I highly agree. But when you're out in the woods and you ain't got no woods or trees around you, it sucks turning off your gas and just throwing your bike on its side. I mean, I hate it. I was always the guy who did that, had to do that. So, yeah. Here we go. Cherubies covers on this side, too. And with these Cherubies frame covers. And those are awesome, man. I love them. You can tell they get worn, too. Your boots put some marks on them. So, and of course, I went with the old Electron. Some V-Force reeds. You can't go back with Electron. I'm looking at that new smart card now because I heard that one's like pretty close to fuel injection. So we're going to give that a look maybe this year and see maybe if I get my new bike, I might put one of those on it. But yeah. So there we go. I mean, she's been a good bike. A dang good bike. I couldn't ask for a better bike for the price I got it for. So I am not complaining at all. I'm still running tubes. I got my spare tube in there, and of course I got my goodie bag with all my goodies in it. This came in my Klim bag, and that's another thing. Everything, you know, I know everybody getting into this sport, man, is just super expensive, and I just left the sport where I spent a lot of money, so I really didn't want to do it on my second little habit here, but you know what? For good quality products, you got to pony up the dough a little bit, because, you know, like the old man always says, you buy something good and that's made out of quality stuff and you take care of it, it'll last you a long time. So that is my plan on that, just taking care of stuff. But anyway, man, that is my review on my bike. It has been an awesome bike. I have had no problems with it, other than kind of fine-tuning the carburetor and stuff like that here and there. But thanks to Richard Wilson at House of Horsepower, he has any problem I have, cough, sputter, fart, I take it to him and he immediately goes through everything. I mean, for free. And, you know, I mean, it's just, the guy is, I just can't say enough about the guy. He's just phenomenal. So definitely check him out, man. I'll throw his number up there. And the guy is out of this world, man. I mean, I was going to get a spring for free that he had just hang around. You know, I'm not trying to say, you know, give away his stuff here, but the point is, the guy is, I mean, he's another moto guy that cares about our riders, and he knows how expensive stuff is, man. And it all adds up, little piece by piece. So, and I think I've got about 3,500 into mine, just in parts and pieces. So, I mean, you add that to the price of the bike, then you add your gear to it, and yeah, you almost got a new truck there. So, that is my review on this girl. It has been a good bike. Like I said, I've had no problems with it. But I'm really looking forward to a 300. I really want to get me something with a really low first gear. I was really looking at the XCW 300, but as we know, still a little iffy on it. I give it a year or two or something. But the Beta 300 it's a stellar bike, and it's been calling my name for so long. It's just such a gorgeous bike. But all right, everybody, that's my that's my baby. I figured you guys like to see what I was riding and what I got on her. And there you go. Have a good day. This is the Brr signing out.